Yes, well, the World Masters Games are here in Adelaide from the 3rd to the 10th of October. The CEO, General Manager, whatever title you like to give him, the boss, Nick Mercer, has been good enough to come in and have a chat with us. Nick, how are you?
I'm good, Phil. Thank you very much for seeing me.
All right, mate, the Masters Games here in Adelaide. Let's talk a little bit about you before we get on to the Masters, though, because it's a massive role that you've taken on. You had 10 years with the Boomers.
Yeah, so 10 years looking after the Boomers, but it wasn't just the Boomers. I was also looking after 6 other national teams that Basketball Australia's got. So kept me busy, kept me on the road.
All right, World Championships, Olympic Games, Commonwealth Games, you've been a part of all those. Does that flow nicely into the Masters Games?
I think some of the athletes would think it flows nicely into the Masters Games, for sure. I think there's a wide gap between those participants and these participants. But I like to try and find a way to bridge that gap. So some of the experiences that I had the fortune to experience at the Olympics, London Olympics, that village type setup, I'm going to try and bring some of that into the Masters Games this time around.
And I think too, although there is a vast difference between, say, an Olympics and a Masters, there are athletes that treat it like an Olympic Games, and there are a vast majority who actually love the social aspect of it and the competitive aspect of it as well.
Yeah, those 3 things that you just mentioned are the main reasons why our people keep coming. So on the 10th of October, you'll see a vast majority of our participants walking around with a swag of medals across their chest.
Yes.
Nice and proud, I won this, just like you would in Olympic Games.
Yes.
And this is probably where it gets the closest. Our participants will party just as hard as an elite athlete. They will get out there and they'll give it a good shake. So
that's almost an event in itself. You could award gold medals for that.
It is.
Well, there's a couple that would win it too, no doubt about that. When you talk about that though, 10,000 athletes will come in to Adelaide. So the economic side of things, I mean, the Olympic Games, the athletes are housed in a village, they're fed in the village, they go out at the end of their event, but not that much. This one is the opposite. So what's the economic impact to a city like Adelaide? Yeah,
so our principal partner is South Australian Tourism Commission. So they're really keen on bringing interstate, international participants into experiencing our games, then maybe staying a little bit longer or getting an idea of what Adelaide is so that they can come back. So our direct economic impact is around $13 million into the state's economy. And that's not including the indirect of I'll come back next month or I'll come back in summer and enjoy the beaches or the wineries or whatever the case may be. So it's significant. 10,000
athletes, you've got to accommodate them, so that takes care of that part. Then there's the event itself, so you can't run it all on your own. How many staff to run the Masters Games?
So we've got a crew of 13 staff in our games office here in Adelaide. We've got another couple of event media and marketing specialists based out of Melbourne, and then our head office is actually in Brisbane, and there's another 3 crew working up there. Now that's not taking into consideration of the 1,500 volunteers that will put in some hours come games time. So at the moment we've got 30 pre-games volunteers working in the office, taking phone calls, taking registrations, getting ready for the games, and then when games time roll around, we'll have 1,500 throughout the Greater Adelaide region.
I guess you've got a template in place from previous Masters Games, but what are some of the subtle differences that make your job exciting, challenging, leading into October?
One of the things that we do well is we hand the event over to the next to make sure that we keep getting better and better. A couple of things came out crystal clear from the last games in 2013. We needed to host the village indoors, so we put it at the convention centre, nice, clean, didn't need to worry about weather. We can also do a lot more in there, so we've got a lot more sports inside the actual village. So you can come in and you can watch boxing or fencing or taekwondo. And then we host more things from an entertainment point of view. So our opening ceremony also coincides with the AFL Grand Final this year. So we'll put on an AFL Grand Final. So you can come and watch it with all your mates and all the other teams and all the other sports that are involved in the Masters Games and watch it on the big screen. So that's probably what the biggest difference is trying to get those people in. There's also a group of participants that will go accommodate themselves next to their sporting venue. So like a softball, they'll go stay down at Adelaide Shores. They'll compete at Adelaide Shores. They'll stay around that Glenelg, Adelaide Shores area, and that's their Masters Games experience. So I want to make sure that experience is unique. So we'll put some live bands down there every other night and trying to make that experience a good atmosphere.
56 sports currently going to compete in the World Masters Games. Is it too late to register?
Definitely not. So our registrations, end of our early bird registrations is Friday. at 5 p.m. So that's Friday the 7th of August. So if you get in before then, you save yourself an extra $27.50. If you miss that date, it's just an extra $27.50, but we'll still obviously take your registrations. Different sports depend on when you can finish your registration. So if you're a 400-metre sprinter, you can register right up until the day off.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. You looked at him and said 400-metre sprinter. That just threw me off right there, Nick. Sorry.
I did notice that look followed by a smirk.
Sorry, 400-metre sprinter.
Yeah.
You can register right up until the day. If you want to compete in basketball, 11th of September is the last date that you can register your team. But if you get a call up from your mate saying, I need you to come and register, you can do that day before.
I have to admit, I have had some involvement in the Masters Games, Nick, not in the last couple of years, but for the few years prior to that. And I used to love doing the 800 at Santos every fortnight during that summer period. It was great. But the thing I really want to highlight was the fact it didn't matter whether you were a good athlete or average athlete or a real battler, and I was in all three of those categories at various times, is that it is a real good community feel. Everyone just do the best you can. It is the real essence of what sport should be. It is a great community to be a part of. So if you don't think you're up to it, you're wrong. You can be a part of it. You really can. And I'm really looking forward to it.
So you're competing?
I'll be, that 800 is me. I can break so my goal is to get as close to 220 for the 800 as I can in the 50 to 55. Last time I checked, I was about 229, so I've got a bit of work to do. But my problem is drinking and eating the wrong foods. But besides that, I'm okay.
I'm still laughing at the bit. A bit of work to do. The oldest competitor, Nick, so far?
Oh, look, you get the 99-year-old netballers.
That's great, though.
Yeah, it is. But not just the oldest. I mean, to imagine a 70-something and 80-something running around doing something just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like and you talk about community and how people really give it a go and they're all supportive. I'd love some of the younger generation to get out there and watch that. And just watch how they support each other and just have a crack. And
we're talking about that. What is there is no close-off age, but what is the start-up age for a Masters?
So it depends on different sports, but the majority of them are about 30 years and over.
Okay.
So that 30 years and over is a Masters age group. You could be a gymnast, and their entry age is 18.
Yes, okay.
Their class is a Masters age after 18.
Yeah. Look, the one thing I've noticed, Tori, and a lot of the people that are our age that are competing in the Masters Games, is that passion to compete. And they start off with, look, we're just going because it's going to be good fun. And then no matter what the event is, as soon as they line up, as soon as the ball gets thrown, whatever it is, that competitive juice kicks in. And the number of people from the Masters Games, I see them 3 days in, they've gone, I went too hard early. I went too hard early. Not I partied too long, I went too hard early. So it is one of those ones where it has the social aspect and everyone really enjoys that, but the competitive juices still kick in for a lot of the athletes, doesn't it?
There's a lot of white line fever.
And
it's good to watch, but I think a lot of the participants will roll in going, I remember doing this when I was in high school and I was able to sprint this fast and I was able to move this fast on the court, and then they get into it and they may not have done their preparation that they potentially should have, and things are a little bit slower.
I have to admit, first time I looked at that clock at an 800, I thought there was something wrong with the timing because it appeared to be a lot slower than what I thought it might be.
Yeah, it was days and months.
Yeah, it was just about. But and I know we're running out of time here, but I think one of the good things is that sporting groups of friends put teams together, and they almost treat it like a trip away into the season, even though it's the start of competition, and they come in with that good-natured spirit. And I congratulate you, Nick. It's an exciting time, and from all reports, it's starting to be pieced together really well.
Yeah, and we're coming up to it now. So as of today, there's 60 days left before opening ceremony, so we're really coming down to it. Registrations are good. We're getting some big spikes in sports like dragon boat and athletics and lawn bowls and hockey. So should be a lot of people floating around. And come those 8 days, you'll see a lot of people wearing the backpack, wearing the medals, all over the city, and hopefully we'll make a presence.
Yeah, Nick, thanks for joining us. The World Masters Games start. The Masters Games start here the 3rd to the 10th of October. Still got time to register. It'll be a spectacular event here in Adelaide. If you're not going to compete, at least get down there and support the athletes that are. Stay with us. Plenty still to come.